Hi there, LJUMC family. You know, when I served at the church back in Nebraska, one of the good friends that I made who still lives out there, he used to always give me a hard time when he'd see me in church on Sunday. He'd say, you know, you've got an easy life. You pastors only work one day a week anyway. It's one of those things that we get from time to time. And sometimes that's an assumption that folks legitimately make. So I wanted to give you a little bit of sort of behind the scenes on what I'm working on just this week. I have met with some folks who are putting together a program to reach out to church members and constituent friends of the church just to check in and, you know, how are you doing? Are you connecting with our worship services? If not, would you like to know how? How can we invite you to participate as we come out of COVID? That kind of a program. Have had lots of conversations headed primarily by our Gifted Explorers group. You know, I get emails all the time on some of our various studies that are ongoing, including, you know, a couple of things that happen on Wednesdays, both in the morning and the evening, Men and Women Bible Study, the Explorers Group. I've been getting some emails from some of our folks related to some ongoing negotiations with Scouts related to some projects that are happening around the church. Of course, I have all of my sermon prep materials here as I work on sermons for this Sunday and the coming weeks. I actually have all of my sermon titles and scriptures planned out through the end of the liturgical year, which, you know, basically almost the end of November. What else do I have going on? I was actually in a meeting on Monday of this week related to annual conference. You know, we just finished up annual conference 3 months ago, and you might be thinking about that. Well, actually, we're already planning for the annual conference next June. We just made a decision this last week about where the next annual conference session will be held. So that's done. I was in a meeting last night that had to do with the upcoming Western Jurisdictional Conference. If you're not familiar with the jurisdiction, it's a representative gathering of all the annual conferences of the Western third of the United States. And they've got some work to do, including electing new bishops. And so I was in a meeting last night related to that. It's been a full week, and it's only Wednesday. Part of what I do is I like to have a weekly update that goes into our journal each week. In a few minutes, which is partly why I've been working on some sermon prep, I'll write my sermon note that is included in the journal each week. If you haven't seen the journal, if you haven't seen the sermon note, it's usually linked every week that we do it, most weeks. You'll find that link in there, and it includes, you know, a sort of introductory paragraph about the upcoming sermon. It includes the scripture that we'll read during the service and a few thought-provoking questions to help sort of prepare you for worship. If you haven't seen that, I encourage you to take a look. But that doesn't include some of the worship announcements that I'll probably be recording tomorrow. It's a full week. And I want you to know that in the midst of all this, I've had many conversations with staff members, with families who sometimes have a tendency to walk dogs along the bike path behind the church or through the church property. Also with church members who've come in to have conversation. It's a full week. And it's a typical week. One of the things I love about this is it's never the same, and that's always a good thing. So if you've ever had that idea that your pastors only work one day a week, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight about what that looks like. All of this work is done in service to you, my dear friends, remembering that we are a connected and connectional church. We are connected with one another as community, and we are connected with the wider body of United Methodists. And indeed, what a privilege it is to be in such a broad and diverse and fantastic church family. Grace and peace to you, my friends.